This story is fucking fascinating. This is the one thing I think Elon deserves a pat on the back for. This is courtesy of the New York Times. This came out a while back ago, like a few days ago, but I forgot to cover it, so I want to cover it now. Fucking fascinating. Courtesy of the New York Times. On the campaign trail, Elon Musk juggled drugs and family drama. This makes a lot of sense because if you've been watching a lot of clips about Elon around the White House, around Trump's administration, you would have seen him looking a little bit ketty, looking a little bit scatty, looking a little bit nitty, as we say here in the UK, looking like a nitty, moving like a nitty, you know, and it gave off the feeling of somebody that was tripping balls, that had probably done a bit too much, right? Big up that fucking, big up that, that Reddit, right? Done too much. Big up that Reddit. That's what it kind of felt like. So this is no surprise, but it's good to get it on the record, courtesy of the New York Times. It says, as Elon Musk became one of Donald Trump's closest allies last year, leading raucous rallies and donating about $275 million to help him win the presidency, he is also using drugs far more intensely than previously known, according to people familiar with activities. $275 million is a lot of money. I'm starting to rethink my position. Because I thought to myself, why did Elon actually think he could control or have any type of sway on Trump? He should have known that Trump was never going to allow him to hold anything over his head. But then again, if I was Elon and I donated $275 million to you, and I feel like I played an integral part in getting you re-elected, I'm going to be a bit pissed if you don't pass that bill by me. If you don't let me give it a little quick read before you fucking pass it through the fucking whatever else it is, you know? You'd be a little bit annoyed if you gave someone $275 million over the course of the campaign. You'd be like, you don't rate me, do you? You don't rate me. Anyway, it continues. Mr. Musk's drugs consumption went well beyond occasional use. So what they're trying to say is that occasional use is okay. You know, you're a billionaire, you're a fucking entrepreneur, you're this crazy guy. Okay, dabble in some stuff. But Elon, you did too much. He told people he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held up to 20 pills, including ones of the makings of stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of the box and people who've seen it. Wow. So that there's a picture. So these journalists haven't put it out yet, but there's a picture of the actual box. On my life, right? On my life, I've done a lot of ketamine in my life, right? I definitely have never heard of that bladder issue. He must be doing insane amounts. I've never heard of the bladder issue in my life. I've never heard of it. The main issue that I've had over my time of doing multivitamins has been like when I ended up doing way too much MDMA when I was first kind of going out around Dawson times. I'd get through like an 8-ball of that like a weekend. You know what I mean? On a weekly basis almost. And that in the end kind of caused me to have a bit of a crash, have like a depressive stage phase. And like I said previous times, I remember calling my friend Miles at the time and telling him, oh shit, I feel really down. And him essentially telling me in non-certain terms in a jokey way and also in a kind of mocking way, of course you feel down. You're fucking doing like an 8-ball of fucking MDMA every night. Of course you're going to feel down. Then I Googled it and found out, oh shit, the fucking, you know, cons of doing that much gear, doing that much MDMA at least, especially that is a serotonin dump, is that feeling that you're going to get when you're down in the dumps. But I've never heard of this ketamine bladder issue. He must have been doing so much stuff. But again, it all makes sense. All those weird head turning things he does, where it looks like legitimately his eyes are rolling back into his head. Like, I couldn't imagine the worst thing possible. Like, me personally, I prefer when you're doing your multivitamins to be in a situation or to be in a place where other people are doing them also. Not sure about you. I feel sometimes if ever I've done another multivitamin and I'm in an environment where there's people who are not doing it, I feel incredibly self-conscious, right? I get incredibly paranoid. But it's way better to do it in a rave or a party because everybody's on that kind of timing. At least you've hoped so anyway. But you're more at ease. You're less anxious. So I couldn't imagine doing all that gear and then standing in a super brightly lit flipping White House Oval Room or whatever, and then during a press conference having cameras flashing your face, journalists screaming at you and shit. Yeah, your kid pulling at your fucking shirt. Nah, man, this guy's a mad guy. The fact that he could do that is a madness. It is unclear whether Musk 53, again, 53. I feel like a loser sometimes doing adult multivitamins now, right? I feel like a loser sometimes doing adult multivitamins now. I could not imagine doing them when you're 53 years old. Now, the flip side of it could be, if you're Elon and you've amassed the wealth that he has over time, surely one of the benefits of it is that you can do what the fuck you want. You're not bound by societal norms, right? You can literally do whatever the fuck you want. Gear at 6 a.m., gear at 1 a.m., booze at 4 a.m., whatever. Men, women, cats, dogs, whatever. You can do whatever you want, literally. You can kind of get away with anything, maybe with the exception of murder. And even that, if you know the right people, you could probably get away with it. But there is something very unbecoming about a 53-year-old man doing gear. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm just imagining, picturing 53-year-old me bent over a key, holding one side of my nostril, sniffing something, breaking up a pill. Like, it's a bit gross. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit gross. It continues. But he has exhibited erratic behavior, insulting cabinet members, gesturing like a Nazi, and garbling his answers in a staged interview. At the same time, Mr. Musk's family life has grown increasingly tumultuous as he has negotiated overlapping romantic relationships and private legal battles involving his growing brood of children, according to documents and interviews. The kids thing, like, maybe that's a red herring for a lot of people, but I'm sure there are some people out there. I remember that one dude, I forgot his name. There was this chef. I think it's the one with grey. I think it might be Argentinian. There was that time during was it COVID or before COVID? There was that series on Netflix called Chef's Table, and there was that one dude, I think he's Argentinian or something, who had this really cool restaurant, but he also lived a very counterculture life sort of thing, where he had like a harem of women who he all impregnated and stuff, and they were all living happily under one roof. So I'm sure those kind of people exist, right? Those type of dudes who are like, you know, bigger than life sort of characters who, you know, believe in, you know, essentially repopulating the earth with kids and shit. They're all about free love. The women are all, you know, willing participants in this as well. So I'm sure it can work. But I think on Elon's side of things, the way it kind of unravels is his insistence that he's this like business entrepreneur maverick guy who leads all these companies while also having all those kids, while also being on the social media all the time. Something has to give. And it's unfortunate that it's obvious, we can tell the thing that's given is his kids. He's definitely not there for his family. He's probably spends way more time on social media than he does with his actual family, which is super disturbing. But again, not surprising considering how much he tweets on there. On Wednesday evening, Mr. Musk announced that he was ending his stint with the government. Mr. Musk and his lawyers did not respond to requests for comment this week about his drug use and personal life. He has previously said that he was prescribed ketamine for depression, taking it about every 2 weeks, and he told his biographer, "I really don't like doing illegal drugs." By the way, that's a lie. That's a complete lie. If there's ever a guy who looks like he does a lot of illegal drugs, it's fucking Elon. And that's the thing that I don't like about him. Like, as being a fan of the tech side, the quote-unquote entrepreneur side of Elon, the thing I don't like about him when he's entered in this political field has been his lack of standing on his shit, like saying stuff with his chest. If you're gonna get prescribed ketamine, or if you're gonna do fucking drugs in the first place, just wear it with your chest. Don't get it prescribed in the first place. Just do it. You're a fucking billionaire. No one can cancel you. No one can fire you, and even if they did, it wouldn't fucking matter anyway. It wouldn't leave a fucking dent if you got booted from fucking Tesla, right? But do it with your whole chest. Like, be who you want to be. Like, live that life. Be a rock star unapologetically so. And I think that people would maybe be more enamored to him. But this lie, this kind of facade he's keeping up of trying to act like he's not constantly fucking high is really annoying, because you know he is. You can tell by how he speaks. You can tell by how he fucking moves. You can tell how, you know, by everything, like how he twitches around, his erratic nature just in general. It's like, brother, we can tell you're on something. And if you're not on something, then it's actually quite concerning. But we know you are on something. Just be honest and do it. Especially at yours, like being him. Like, you've got every right, every reason to do so, because you're literally a fucking billionaire. But he doesn't want to. Cool. At a news conference with Mr. Trump on Friday, Mr. Musk was asked about the New York Times coverage. He questioned newspapers' credibility and told the reporter to move on. He later said on social media that he did not use drugs. Lies. That evening, President Trump told reporters outside Air Force One that he was not aware of regular drug use by Musk. I'm not troubled by anything with Elon Musk. I think he's fantastic. By the way, I wonder if his hesitancy to say he takes drugs is linked to his jobs or his companies. I wonder if there's like a clause, there's some sort of stipulation if you do take drugs in your court, then it could maybe risk him being booted from his companies or his companies taken away from him. Maybe. That's why he has to keep this facade up. But it's like, bro, most likely everyone that works at Tesla is probably on drugs too, with the way he pushes those guys, to meet their deadlines. Same goes for the people at SpaceX and stuff. Like, come on, man. It's obvious. At a large government contractor, Mr. Musk's aerospace firm SpaceX must maintain a drug-free work. Oh, there we go. See, as a large government contractor, Mr. Musk's aerospace firm SpaceX must maintain a drug-free workforce and administers random drug tests to its employees. But Mr. Musk has received advance warning of the test. According to people close to the process, SpaceX did not respond to questions about the warnings. Of course they did. Of course, Musk is receiving advance warnings. It's like the drug testing in the Premier League. If you get caught with that, you're just an idiot. Most people know it's a kind of open secret that they always give Premier League players a fucking heads up. That's why Premier League players rarely get fucking caught. But most people are on some sort of gear. You know what I mean? It's impossible to play as many Premier League games as a lot of players play, plus the cup games and stuff and whatever European games, without some sort of assistance. So this is no surprise. I just hope, for Elon's sake, karma's sake, that at least if he's getting a heads up, everyone else gets a heads up too. Hope he's not doing a scummy thing where like Elon gets a heads up and the employees work for SpaceX, they do some gear and they get caught and then they get fired. That's not fair. Do you know what I mean? Imagine how pissed off you'd be if you were doing an 8-ball with fucking Elon in the toilets during the fucking SpaceX Christmas party. Then you get fired, but Elon doesn't. You'd be fucking annoyed. I know it's his company and stuff, but you'd be pissed. Mr. Musk, who joined the president's inner circle after making a vast fortune on cars, satellites and rocket ships, has long been known for grandiose statements and mercurial personality. Supporters see him as an eccentric genius whose slash-burn management style is key to his success. But last year, as he jumped into the political arena, some people who knew him worried about his frequent drug use, mood swings and fixations with having more children. This account of his behavior is based on private messages obtained by the Times, as well as interviews with more of a dozen people who know him. This year, some of the longtime friends, he renounced him, pointing to some of the public conduct. They said Elon has pushed the boundaries for his bad behavior more and more, said Philip Lowe, a neuroscientist and one-time friend of Musk, who criticized him for his noise like salute. And some women are challenging Musk for his control on their children. There's Grimes. One of his partners, Claire Bosher, also known as Grimes, has been fighting with Musk over their 5-year-old son known as X. Mr. Musk is extremely attached to the boy, taking him to the Oval Office and high-profile gatherings that are broadcast around the world. Miss Bosher has privately complained that the appearances violate the custody settlement in which she and Mr. Musk agreed to keep their child out of the public eye. He's definitely broken that one. According to people familiar with her concerns and provisions, which has not been previously reported. She has told people that she worries about the boy's safety and that frequent travel and sleep deprivation are harming his health. Yeah, he really doesn't like that. That's one thing he really doesn't. That's one thing he really doesn't give a fuck about, the women in his life. That's one thing he really doesn't give a fuck about. It seems like he loves his kids, with the exception of that one kid that's some trans. But when it comes to the women in his life, he doesn't give a fuck about them. Another mother, the right-wing writer Ashley St. Clair, revealed in February that she had a secret relationship with Mr. Musk and had given birth to his 14th known child. Mr. Musk offered her a large settlement to keep the paternity test concealed, but she refused. She sought a gag order in New York to force Miss St. Clair to stop speaking publicly, she said in an interview. Yeah, Ashley St. Clair, to be fair, no one has a lot of sympathy for her because she was really pursuing Elon. Like, she wanted Elon bad. Like, she wanted to have an Elon baby bad. I think she maybe had plans or aspirations for that baby to kind of take her out of the hood, quote unquote. But unfortunately, it didn't transpire that way. And now it's kind of been said out loud. I think it's a well-known secret that Elon basically moved to Texas for the sole purpose of trying to circumnavigate the child support, fees and shit, or payments. because I think allegedly Texas has pretty low child support or requirements or something. So he pays the bare minimum. Despite being a billionaire, he pays these women the bare flipping minimum. What a crazy fucking guy. So I don't really have much sympathy for her in that respect, but I do feel bad for her because she kind of been left in the lurch in that respect. But hey, let's continue. The ketamine habit, goes to the New York Times. Mr. Musk described some of his mental health issues in interviews and on social media, saying on one post that he has felt great highs and great terrible lows in unrelenting stress. He has denounced traditional therapy and antidepressants. Surely somebody has to tell him that maybe being on Twitter so much isn't helping either, right? Surely, if you're running 3 of those companies at one, at once and stuff, maybe reducing your social media output or your social media enjoyment should be the first thing on your fucking list. Maybe before you denounce the pills and stuff and the therapy, which might help, but surely stuff like social media, you should probably jump off it. But he seems to love it. He plays video games for hours on end. He struggles with binge eating, according to people familiar with his habits, and takes weight loss medication. And he posts one a day, night on his social media platform X. Of course he does. We know that, to be honest. His weight is always fluctuating up and down. Mr. Musk has a history of recreational drug use, the Wall Street Journal reported last year. Some board members at Tesla, his electrical vehicle company, have worried about his use of drugs, including Ambien. Jesus Christ, man. Ambien even. Come on, Elon, you're doing too much here, bro. In an interview in March 2024, the journalist Don Lemon, oh shit, it's gonna go somewhere else, isn't it? Damn it. Apologies. Big up everybody in the stream chat too. Thank you for joining in. Make sure you like the stream if you're enjoying what you see. If you're listening to this video, audio podcast, mate, leave me a 5-star review once you've done as well. That'd be greatly appreciated, right? Leave me a 5-star review. You'll find all the links to all my socials and all my contact things in the description too. And yeah, I hope you're enjoying the flipping pod so far. Yeah, I hope you are. I hope you're enjoying it. So let's continue here. What did it say here about Don Lemon? What did Don Lemon say? What's Don Lemon snitching about? What's Don Lemon snitching ass talking about here? In an interview in March 2004, so yeah, the journalist Don Lemon pressed him on his drug use. Mr. Musk says he only took a small amount of ketamine about once every 2 weeks as a prescribed treatment for his negative moods. By the way, one thing that you know, any drug addict, any drug user, enthusiast, one thing you always do is undermine or underplay how much you actually do. That's like drug user 101. So if he says he takes a small amount, best believe he takes a big amount. If he says he only takes it every 2 weeks, best believe he does it every 2 days. So anything he says, it's the opposite. If you've used too much ketamine, you can't really get work done, and I have a lot of work. Yeah, but you can also microdose it. He's acting stupid. He's being facetious. You can obviously microdose it throughout the day and no one will fucking be none the wiser. He had actually developed a far more serious habit at times found. Mr. Musk had been using ketamine often, sometimes daily, and mixing with other drugs according to people familiar with his consumption. The line between medical use and recreation was blurring, troubling some people close to him. He also took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms at a private gathering across the United States and at least one country according to those attending those events. That's one of the hardest things to do though, isn't it? Like, if you got a friend that's maybe doing a little bit too much gear, that kind of conversation is hard to broach. It's hard to know if that's even your place to even say anything, So imagine how hard it is when the guy that you know that's doing too much gear is a billionaire, super influential. Maybe he pays for your life. Maybe he's giving you ample of opportunities to make your life better. So you maybe feel like you have a sense of, loyalty to him. You're meant to turn the other cheek. So you're meant to look the other way. You're meant to bury your head in the sand. But you're also not helping him because it could end, it could lead to his downfall. But yeah, look at this shit, man. And now they're beefing, man. Who would have guessed it? One moment, Elon was on stage doing star jumps behind Trump. Next moment, they're now beefing. Kind of crazy, isn't it? It's kind of funny. The Food and Drug Administration has formally approved the use of ketamine of only anesthetic medical purposes or procedures. Doctors with special licenses may prescribe it for psychiatric disorders like depression. By the spring of last year, Mr. Musk was ramping up the criticism of President Joseph R. Biden. Why did they say that for? President Joseph R. Biden Jr. Practically his policies on illegal immigration. Just say President Biden. Mr. Musk also is facing federal investigation for his business regulators. We're looking into crashes of the Tesla self-driving cars and allegations of racism at his factories, among other complaints. So I guess all those stresses is why he's doing the drugs. That's what they're trying to make it seem like. Yeah, no excuse. There's at least half a dozen initiatives of significance to take me down, he wrote a text message to someone close to him. The Biden administration views me as a number 2 threat after Trump. I can't be president, but I can help Trump defeat Biden, and I will. He publicly endorsed Mr. Trump in July. Around that time, Mr. Musk told people that his ketamine use was causing bladder issues, according to people familiar with the conversation. Yo, imagine you do so much ket, you have bladder issues. You develop kidney stones and stuff. Can you imagine that? On October the 5th, he appeared with Mr. Trump at the rally the first time, bouncing up and down around the candidate. That evening, Mr. Musk shared excitement with the person close to him. I'm feeling more optimistic after tonight. Tomorrow, we unleash the anomaly in the Matrix. This is not something of the chessboard, so they will be quite surprised, Mr. Musk added about a last later. Lasers from the space. So, to be honest, if Elon searches his text messages, he could quickly see who this person was. Whoever this snitch was, that's anonymous, he probably knows who it is. So, he knows this is true. After Mr. Trump won, Mr. Musk rented a cottage at Mar-a-Lago and the president-elect Florida resort to assist with the transition. Mr. Musk attended personal meetings and sat in one phone call with foreign leaders, and he crafted plans to overhaul the federal government under the new Department of Government Efficiencies. Okay, cool. So Elon was out here doing mad amounts of gear. Maybe that's the reason why Trump soured on him, because Trump is a known teetotaler, right? He doesn't do absolutely anything, which makes Trump even more crazy, to be fair. The fact that he's the way he is and he doesn't do anything is kind of crazy. But I wonder if the drugs and the abuse of them is what maybe turned Trump off from Elon. And Elon kind of felt that, and that's why he's kind of gone a bit crazy now. Who knows? Maybe it's not the bill. Maybe it's the fact that Trump didn't want to do a bump with Elon, and Elon took that personally. He took that as an offense, and here we are. Who freaking knows? Who freaking knows?